Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Yeah, I'm super tired, sorry, like I just couldn't bother to put makeup on today. So this is my makeup free face and my hair pulled back, you know, a little bit, we're still growing. But yeah, today my friend Grace from church, she literally put this post on Instagram, and I'm going to put a link to her Twitter and her Instagram profiles down in the description box, because she just speaks so much truth and she always puts me in the know of things because I'm always busy, I'm always working. Basically, I'm going to read what this lady has said on this article and then I'll talk about it, okay. A spokeswoman for the Victorian Albert Museum said, "The advisory group was convened to discuss the interpretation of the display. Restitution didn't come up, however, we welcome the opportunity to discuss how to ensure the widest possible access to this material, including long-term loans to an appropriate venue in Ethiopia." Now, the thing that annoys me is long-term, and it says loans and then appropriate venue. First of all, you Britain, I'm not going to say the spokeswoman of the V&A, Britain, Italy, Portugal, Spain. I'm not going to let people off because a lot of countries have done this. A lot of European countries have done this. During the time when everyone was becoming an empire and everyone wanted to colonize and get colonies and get wealth and steal people, which they did, steal people as Jesus slaves, take them to Brazil, take them to America, take them to different colonies at the time, use them to work because they were too lazy to work and get people to work for them. So they think, oh, let's get free labor, let's go to Africa and steal people and dehumanize them and whatever. We're not going to go into slavery. That's going to be another video, which I don't even know I'm ready to talk about yet, but that's going to be another video about the colonies. And I was talking about how Britain stole so many things from Africa, from Nigeria, from different tribes, and would obviously misplace exactly where it came from and destroy history, because we're not going to go into deep stuff. But he was like, oh, they didn't steal, they borrowed, finders keepers. And I was like, that is such a European thing to say. It's not finders keepers. That does not excuse the fact that thousands, millions of artifacts have been stolen. It's not even like it's a gift. These specific things they're talking about from Ethiopia, which is Abyssinia at the time, that's in the V&A, were not gifts to the Queen. Back in the day, in the 18th century, 17th centuries, kings and queens of Africa and other countries did gift things to the royal family of England, not to the British people, to the Queen, obviously a royal family to another royal family. These are not things that have been gifted to the Queen. Those would be in the Royal Collection Trust. Those would be an actual collection of royal artifacts given by other royals from around the world at different points in history. These specific items from Ethiopia have actually been stolen by people, and I find it really upsetting and annoying that continuously asking for these things to be returned. I know Greece is very annoyed that the Parthenon stones are still in the British Museum in Greece. There are so many amazing temples there that have been ransacked by the British, and they're still trying to fix those things, and it really annoys me that people are so naive and just think it's fine to it's not finders keepers. Imagine if I went into your house, killed half of your family, stole your belongings and your treasured items, then put it in my house and made a little museum and charged people to come into one of my rooms in my house to see these treasures that I had found. I didn't found them, I killed some of your family and I stole those items. Now if you decide later on that you want to come to my house and ask for me to get them back, I turn around and say, oh no, I found these items, I did not steal them from you. No, I did steal them from you. I would return those. I would never do that, by the way. I would never kill anyone. Just putting that out there. This is an example, right? It's an example. I wouldn't do that anyway. And Italy, Spain, Portugal, France, Belgium, we're not even gonna, we're not gonna let them off, because everyone always goes on about England and I get really annoyed about in history. Go and read the history books. Spain did a lot, Portugal did a lot, Brazil and Mexico are there because of Spain and Portugal. Don't get it twisted. They did a lot of killing and a lot of genocide and stuff as well to other peoples, or other cultures and other civilizations, and I am so in the support of letting people see things and gaining access to amazing pieces of art. I love art. I'm an artist myself. I love those kind of things, people being able to see it in a museum. But I'd rather see these amazing things and go to Ethiopia myself to a museum that displays all the stuff there. That's what it's for. The British Museum should not have anything that isn't British in that museum. It makes no sense to have things that aren't British in the British Museum. The Victoria and Albert Museum, okay, display things that Victoria and Albert had that were gifted to them from other countries at the time and other royal families. That makes more sense than to have things that have been stolen by British people, British members of the British Empire. Back in the day, they would get things. Oh, you found this treasure from another country. Great, let's put it in a museum. Oh, you bought this for like nothing, like paid like 200. I've read this article somewhere, which I'll just put in the link below, of people that have bought things in the 18th century, 70s or whenever, and have literally paid like £200 whatever at the time, which is a lot of money. But for the thing that they bought it for, it was worth so much more than that. And if a government is asking for their things back on behalf of the people, well, like India, or whether it's China, or whatever government it is, I feel like the British government and these museums need to just understand, you have created so many atrocities around the world. There are lots of people around the world that are very still angry with England, and very still angry with America, and very still angry with the actions that have happened. To do this little thing of returning things that people from this country have stolen, people from England have stolen, people from France have stolen, to send them back to that could create so much peace and actually create a very good relationship between the countries, because you recognize the wrongs that have been done. It's very unethical to sit there and say, oh, it's allegedly stolen. It's not allegedly stolen. It was stolen. You took it. You did not ask permission. You did not pay a price for it. You just took it after you probably killed people. You stole their stuff and then brought it back to your country and put it in a museum. I feel that that's very disgusting, and especially after watching Black Panther, I feel like a lot of people are going to be awakened and are going to think, wait a second, this is true, this stuff has been stolen. Especially there's a scene in Black Panther which I really think people should watch, when Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, is talking to a representative of they couldn't use the British Museum's actual name, so they put a Great Britain Museum or something like that, but Ryan threw shade later on, but yeah. We all knew he was talking about the British Museum. How do you think your ancestors, this is what Killmonger's name, like, how do you think your ancestors got this? Did they pay a fair price? No, they stole it. And that is true. Do right by these people, by their governments. If a government is asking, India's specifically asked a lot, apparently, for items to be returned back to India, to their museum, so people can go to India and see it. A lot of people don't go to those countries because they're like, oh, well, we can see this artifact here. Let's go to the British Museum. The British Museum and V&A are making money because they receive donations for stolen artifacts. These are not British artifacts. They are Indian, they are Chinese, they are Mongolian, and those I really think should be returned to their countries, because it's not fair for them to be here. I don't really want to see things that aren't British in the British Museum. Britain, we have a lot of good art. We have amazing artworks. We have a lot of historical sites. We actually don't need to have those things there. They're just there, and I feel like those museums and people actually need to petition this. This needs to be discussed in Parliament. This needs to be returned, because I feel like this is a great opportunity for England to build amazing relationships with other countries by returning stolen artifacts, admitting that they're stolen, allegedly stolen, or I read that somewhere and I was like, really? Come on. Even if you didn't study history, if it says it's a Chinese helmet or a Chinese spear, it's obviously not British, okay? The Chinese did not give all this stuff away. No, they did not. Those things were taken, and whether it's a result of war, whether it's a result of some battles that happened, whether it was sort of just finding something on the floor and like, oh, look at this I found. Henry, don't you think this, it's marvellous, Henry. Oh, we should take this back. Imagine we could show this to Mary. Absolutely. Let's show this to our family. Look what we found these savages to be having. Very decorative, very, oh, what is this shiny? Oh, I believe it's gold. Gold? They use gold. Savages know what gold is. They knew the war, so we would just borrow this temporarily. Actually, no, I don't think it's borrowing. I call it finders keepers. No, that's not right. That is not okay at all. And I really, really, really want to see the day when the V&A and British Museum actually stand up, like other museums are actually realising that, hey, look, your history, how you got these items are not clean. It's not a paid price. You did not pay for these items. You stole them, you took them, and then you kept them for ages. And now these governments are realising, you know what, our history is so important to us. They need their own culture and history back. You're actually withholding people's items of people's culture, items of people's history, which they need to still survive. Persia and Troy, those civilizations are lost. Syria and Iran and Afghanistan, a lot of those things museums have been destroyed. They actually still need those things that are still in our museums that we have. It'll be amazing to see some of the artifacts, if not all of them that have not been paid for, all of them that have not actually been gifted to Queen Elizabeth or whatever royal family it was, to be returned to those countries. So everything from India to go back to India in one of their museums there, or distributed throughout the museums there, or every single item that has been stolen from the African continent to be returned to each country it was stolen from. Every single artifact that has been stolen from China to be returned to the Chinese government. Everything from Japan that's been stolen to return to Japan. Everything taken from Korea, if there's anything from North or South Korea, to return to those governments. Anything from the Philippines, from the Mongolian Empire, anything stolen to be returned to its proper place. I feel like that would create, it's just a good thing to do. It's ethical, it's right. I'm sick of people doing things that are wrong and not being held to account. Every museum needs to be held to account of, how did you get these things? You were not giving them, they were not gifts by the royal family of those countries or by the government of those countries to you. You stole them. Return them to their rightful owners. Do a good thing, do a job well done, instead of just carrying on the lie, the farce. And I will do that. I will go to the V&A, I will go to the British Museum, and I will literally talk about this until I see a change, because you know what, people do bad things in the darkness and those things will be brought to the light. It's biblical, it's right, and I feel people need to stop doing wrong things and thinking that they're going to go away with it, or just not admitting to those things. At least admit to it. At least admit these things were stolen. Don't sit there and say, oh, well, it wasn't stolen. Yes, it was stolen. Just return those items. That's all you need to do. You don't need to be like, oh, kick a fuss. It's not your thing to get upset about. It's not yours. It's not British. If it's not British, it shouldn't be in the British Museum. That should literally be on the wall. If it's not British, it shouldn't be in the British Museum. And the Victoria and Albert Museum, I think, should carry on having art and fashions and things that are British, that have been gifted to those museums from the Chinese government or from different African governments, or whatever was gifted to Victoria and Albert themselves, because that's who it's named after, Queen Victoria and her King Albert. That's it, and that's all I'm going to say about this, because it really annoys me, and I really, really, really want people to understand that a lot of these museums and a lot of things, you know, have taken things that aren't theirs, and I really want them to return back to their actual place. That's it. That's great. Thanks. Bye.